Yeah, I'm just figuring out the controls for this. I do apologize. But yeah, this is going to be a very, very, very scuffed stream. I do not expect anything to be of any sort of high quality. I'm going to try calibrating because, like I mentioned, um, all right, there we go. Now, I would have notified my fiance slash mod that I would be streaming, but one, I didn't want to be stopped. And two, I didn't want to be stopped. I am not actively driving. I am streaming from my car, but that is currently not an issue. I am parked in a safe area, and I just really wanted to talk about what's going on with the U.S. It's this country isn't doing well. If you couldn't guess, I'm gonna wait a little. Hold up, I'm getting messages. Luckily, I have a spare fucking phone. Oh, Jesus. Let's see. So yeah. Okay. So, just so fiance knows, I am using communications through my main phone. So, like my actual main phone. So, please, go ahead and communicate with me through there. It has a good charge. All right. Okay, so we should be good there. And I'm also going to be opening up Twitter. So I have frame of reference. So yeah. Okay. So I'm still going to give it a little more time. I keep in an eye on the feed. Oh wait. Oh no. I have stream controls on this phone too. Jesus. I am not holding up. All right. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to re-download it. It is completely fine though. This is a very scuffed stream, like I mentioned. I'm doing my best. All right. Mm-hmm. Stream manager. Okay, literally no one is in here right now. Okay. Um. Yeah. Yeah. Oof. Let's see. Yeah, Twitch says that there's no one in here at the moment, so I'm just gonna wait a little longer. If there is anyone in here at the moment, please do send a message in chat. I only want to actually start getting into things the moment I see that there's at least one person in here that isn't my mod. All right. Let's see. I should probably get the link to that real quick. Okay. Luckily, I have pinned tweets. Right, there it is. Okay. I don't know how I missed that. Shut up. I just want the link. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna recalibrate again. Jeez, this is gonna be an interesting stream, and that's very much an understatement. Let's see. Okay. No, I just want to zoom. Can I not let my character zoom in? Oh, this is ridiculous. I know I can adjust. No. Okay. Screwing around with these buttons isn't doing anything. Please, please, I just want to zoom in. Come on. Like I said, we're doing absolutely okay. We're doing great. I swear, I was able to move this little thing around earlier. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Okay, okay. Nice to see you, Kurikaida. Okay, so I hope that you saw the stream title. This isn't necessarily going to be a super fun time stream. It's going to be very serious. We're talking about U.S. politics today because because we got really, like, big court decision that happened that is going to screw up this entire country, especially with, one. Okay, so, yeah. I'm not sure if you're from the US or not. So, like, let me know. That way I can just break down what the Supreme Court is. Yeah. Oh gosh, I hate this. Oh, okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay. I am really happy for you. Luckily, I'm in a safe state too. And from my understanding of my state and how everyone else sees my state, we won't have any sort of issues regarding that for the foreseeable future unless we get some really interesting candidates. But aside from that, whether or not you're pro-choice or not, the point of this stream isn't necessarily just going to be about Roe v. Wade. Essentially, I'm like I mentioned in stream title, I'm gonna also be delving into. Wait, no, I think it was my tweet. Regardless, I'm gonna be talking about abortion access, LGBT rights, because one of the Supreme Court justices is he doesn't want rights for the LGBT, and then there's also contraception access, which I have feelings about that one, definitely. So, I'm not gonna wait for more viewers. Just as long as one person's here, I'm fine. So, no, okay. So, abortion has already been a hot topic in this country for decades, basically ever since Roe v. Wade got put as put into law, I guess. I don't know. Ever since that initial decision was made, and a lot of the pro-life side, which is anti-abortion access, they are primarily Christian, and it's not bad being Christian. It's just a fact of who populates the anti-abortion movement. And with the rise and just overall stronghold that religious institutions have over U.S. politics, it's not really a surprise that abortion rights have gotten so just, it's not surprised that it's gotten to this point. And ideally, we wouldn't be here. But unfortunately, we're in an interesting spot. And so when I lived with my grandparents, they are, it's what I would refer to them as being radically traditional, being a radical traditional Catholic, that kind of thing. So they're the types that are against any form of contraceptives at all and are especially against abortion. Now, to each their own in terms of their own personal moral standing of whether or not they would get an abortion. It's not for everyone. I wouldn't say that everyone should get one because not everyone wants to not have kids. And I feel like with a lot of pro-life people, they don't perceive pro-choice people to actually advocate for a choice. Pro-choice people, like me, for example, if someone were to come up to me and let's say I was an employee at Planned Parenthood, I'm not, but this is a hypothetical. If a person were to come to me and request, services regarding whether or not to have an abortion, any sort of termination process, I would definitely be like, okay, like if it's early enough in the entire thing, like I probably wouldn't really give much of a personal fuck. But if it's already further along, like let's say it's past first trimester or whatever the fuck, I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, but let's say it's further along and there's actual development going on. Then it's like, I would say, yeah, have you thought about like insert option here, other option here? Have you looked into any family funding services? Have you thought about applying for WIC, which is, I think, women something children. It's basically meant to help primarily mothers able to afford food for their kids, as well as I think other child-based products like diapers and whatnot. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Discuss with the individual, not the village. Because, like, it's so weird. Yeah, that's what WIC does. It gives supplies to newborns, which is absolutely amazing. I'm pretty sure that it needs more funding anyways, so more allocation to those services, please. But I know that that's not what the Supreme Court is focused on. From my perception of things and how a lot of other left-leaning liberal people perceive the Supreme Court to be, they are more focused on taking away rights rather than granting or expanding the rights of people that, need it. And like I mentioned, contraceptive access. So I do believe one Supreme Court justice wants to get rid of contraceptive access, including a person running in Arizona, I think. I think a member, he's running for Congress or something. Oh yeah, it's going to be another 10 or so years to undo it because Supreme Court justices live for ages and there's no term limit for them, which is absolutely insane. And we're not going to get a change on that anytime soon, unfortunately. But returning to what I was saying, the contraceptive ban. This also brings me back to when I was living with my grandparents. And there was one time I was sent to a Catholic teen conference thing is basically, yeah. So it's basically where, you get a bunch of teenagers, primarily high school age. They ship them off to some other city for like 3 days, and they get you like really riled up for Jesus. We got to get you in the mood and get you religious and continue the faith, carry the torch. And again, to each their own. I was not voluntarily attending for the second time I went, and I think it was during that one or the previous one. It was during the first or second time I went, where you had this one dude. I think he was an ex wrestler, like for WWE or something like that. And as it was a Catholic conference, he himself also is Catholic, and he was going into some odd details about like the beauty of conceiving life. And he didn't go into any sort of not safe for work territory per se, but he did make it a point to be like, the fluids exchange, they like create just a new life, da 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 da. And I'm like, do you really need to be discussing that with these kids, since y'all seem to be very against sex education? Like, you'll forget all sex education until you want to be like, yes, baby good, yes, baby, but don't not have the protection, because then you will have baby. And baby is bad when you are young, and we will not stop you. If you do get pregnant and then have baby, we will judge you viciously for having baby at your age. But at the same time, life is good. Just like, yay for the babies. And also, hello to whoever else just joined stream. I have more of an accurate view count on the top corner of my phone screen. Aside from that. Anyways, contraceptive access. It's always very important. I myself prayed myself as a whore. I am not using it as an insult to myself. It's a blatant fact. And it is very important for not just myself, but other people to have forms of contraceptives. Because, again, we don't need to have a baby boom. This isn't World War II. We're not waiting for our husbands to get back from overseas. That way they can knock us up. And then we're stuck with having the kids. And we're unable to financially support ourselves as a result. So we have to stay married to these sons of bitches, even though that they are probably not being the most, they are not treating us with the most respect. Yeah, so we're not in that time period anymore. We should have more of a say on what does and does not happen, not just with our own bodies, but with what raising a kid will do for the rest of our lives, or at least for the next 18 years, unless you put the kid into adoption, which is also absolutely, it's rough, because the foster care system is already overloaded with a bunch of kids, and not nearly enough prospective parents are even available to, place the kids, even temporarily. There's way too many kids in the system. So the answer of saying, just put the kid up for adoption is a rancid idea. If you're gonna put the kid for adoption, again, you do you, but it would be highly preferable if you had someone already picked out in advance, whether it's an open or closed adoption. Open adoption is where you still have visitation rights in a sense, and you're not completely cut off from the kid. But closed adoption is basically, you adopt this kid, all is said and done. I do not want to have any contact with this child. Just leave be. Leave be. Let's see. Yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be discussed. And a lot of people are not mature enough to start a family. And I am more than willing to say that my parents were, like, they should have never had kids. And I don't say that with malice, don't get me wrong. It's just that, one, my dad just doesn't know how to raise kids. He was the type to prioritize video games over his own kids, which was very apparent when my little brother was born. Like, this kid was, like, still a year old, and, like, just, I would see him playing on his PlayStation 2, and this kid's just, just doing annoying kid things, and he only up until now, I would say that he would be responsible enough to have a kid. Is he financially or physically healthy enough to do that? No, but in terms of his own personal character, he is now more responsible to raise a kid. My mother, on the other hand, she tried raising me and my older sister. Just for a note, my little brother was born from my first stepmom, and then my sister and I share the same, biological mother. She was my dad's first marriage. Let's see. Honestly, like, double multitasking is a blessing if you manage to do it right. And it sounds like you were able to do it, or at least in an ideal world, you would be able to do it. But, yeah, so my dad would, focus on his own personal interests over the kid that he also co-created. And then my mother, she tried, but she also failed miserably. Partially because, there was a lot of neglect that was present. A lot of other family members noticed that. They just didn't say anything, but, like, they knew. Especially, like, once a certain event happened, like, it all came out like, oh, yeah, we all knew the whole time. We just didn't say jack shit. But, yeah. So the two of them shouldn't have been parents, especially, I guess as soon as they got married when they were 19, 20. So it wasn't horrendously young for them, but they should have waited, ideally. Yeah, there are no guides on how to raise a child. And even though there are books, like, there was this one that my sister used to look at a lot because our first stepmom had it. It's called, it was either the first 5 years or the first 5 steps, something like that. And, it goes over the general child development for those ages based off of whenever that book was released. And it's beneficial, but there's no actual, like, it's not like people are taking parenting classes, and it's not like people will have the time to take parenting classes. There's not proper paid, paternal, maternal leave. So you're sort of stuck with, taking care of the kid for as short of a time span as you can afford to, then throw the kid off into a daycare, hire a babysitter, a nanny. Kids are expensive, and guess who's not willing to help mitigate those expenses? The people that want to outlaw abortions. Because a lot of conservatives, they are against having funding for welfare and whatnot, because they're under the assumption that most, if not all, of people on welfare are just doing so to mooch off of the government, be lazy, and just not be a productive member of society. But guess what? People actually struggle and need financial assistance. And yeah, having children, in terms of raising them, that is a lifelong decision. And, whether or not you kick out the kid once they're 18, that's technically up to you, but that would be a very shit move considering the economic state of everything, unless they had roommates that they voluntarily signed up for and whatnot. Again, different story, much more preferable. But, that's just not how things are. People are weird. And then touching more onto the LGBT rights, it's been something that has been expected. Once Trump ran for office back in 2016, I do recall that he was making a bunch of empty promises that, oh yes, Caitlyn Jenner, she is transgender, and I would let her use the women's restroom in the White House. I am here to also stand up for LGBT people. And everyone was digging up receipts, just being like, actually, no, you never actually did support us. You're just doing lip service. Oh no, I am bringing up this hot mess. I am going to bring this hot mess up. Because once he got into office, oh, you meant Caitlyn Jenner. Oh yeah, no, she is not a good role model. I denounce her just as much as I denounce Blair White. They are both shit people, not because they're trans, but just because they are horrible people. Especially since I think Caitlyn Jenner got away with a hit and run. It might have been a case of manslaughter, if I recall correctly, but regardless, it was a hit and run. But yeah, not good. But, him being elected was a part of the general conservative wave of, oh, we get to bring back the policies because, we want to make America great again. Ooh, let's see how far we can go with this. And then that's when you had a whole bunch of just bills going left and right. There was I think one of the first bills regarding trans bathroom bans was in North Carolina. And I do recall, I think it was Nicki Minaj or some other, pop singer, canceled all the events for her tour that she was doing that took place in North Carolina because she didn't want to support that nonsense. And guess what? I don't blame her. I know that there was backlash for that because, people paid for tickets, and I think it was implied that no one was going to be getting any refunds. Ideally, people should have gotten the refunds, but the broader political statement was more important in my opinion. And, other than that, there was also an instant of, there was also how Trump banned transgender people just in the broad sense from joining the military. And I am not for the military in any sense, but if someone voluntarily joins the military, again, of their own volition, with good intentions, then I am, I'm all for it. But banning people simply for being trans from participating in the military is such a dumb idea, because it's not even a matter of, oh, well, what if we're not able to provide them with their hormone treatments while, let's say, they're a prisoner of war. That is not even what it was about. They're just like, oh, we don't like transgender people. Let's take them out of everything possible. So, they took them out the military. I think now they're allowed back in, but don't hold me to that one. I do not have full confirmation on that one. Yeah, my sister just texted me. They overturned Roe v. Wade. Welcome to the party. Yeah, it's honestly, while there is some diversity in the legislature, however you pronounce that, while there is some diversity in there, it is not nearly enough. Because, yes, we do have women in Congress. Thank heavens. We've been needing that. But there's also a lack of racial diversity and people that are openly queer in office. And the reason why that's actually important is because there's an issue of intersectionality that needs to take place. Wait. Great that. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm trying to understand this real quick. Only great that some women are in office. Oh, no. Okay, yeah. We denounce Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. It's more of the concept of women being in office. That's great. Just, not all women and not all men are worthy of even being in those seats. Because, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she mentioned something about Jewish space lasers, which makes absolutely no sense. She's a part of that JQ nonsense, and JQ stands for basically the Jewish question. It's an umbrella for basically all anti-Semitic stereotypes and conspiracy theories. Yeah, so, and it doesn't help that she's a part of that QAnon nonsense. Whether or not she truly believes in the QAnon theories, that's sort of irrelevant because she still perpetuates all of that nonsense just as much as Trump did. And people in office kind of suck ass. Politicians suck ass. Even the ones that are actually advocating for progress and are doing their best to make progress, it's negated by all the people that are fighting against them, which again sucks ass. And like, when it comes to queer rights, we have fought so hard for this to happen. Just like, I remember the day that gay marriage was legalized, and it was a wonderful day. It was June 26th, and I remember that because there was an art piece that someone made of Stitch, because he's, I think he's referred to as Experiment 626. And oddly enough, and funny enough, he matches with the date based off of his more scientific title. So, like, yeah, I remember that day. It was wonderful. I was crying tears of joy because I was seeing all the updated news about it through Tumblr. That was my main platform back then. Do not judge me. But it was great. And there was some fear-mongering from Christians where they're like, oh, gay marriage is legalized. That means that they're going to end up forcing churches to officiate gay marriages. And that's not in the Bible. I'm like, there's a difference between religious freedom versus general human rights. Now, if it's religious protocol that people don't have gay marriages within that, either that sect or that specific church in question, I think legally they're still protected by that because it's their religious beliefs. But it's a matter of, like, hey, I want to get this marriage license. Give it to me. I filed all the paperwork. Just give me license. If they were to say no, then that's illegal. Yes, they are protected under separation. Because it's not like they're politically saying, for the sake of Donald Trump, we will not be officiating any gay marriages. Yeah, that marriage license issue was illegal. I think, I recall that it was an issue. I don't want to say it was in Minnesota, but it was in one of the center states. And luckily, I think they were able to get clearance for that. So, hopefully that went through. The mountain states. Yep. Yeah, just, oy. And I know that for me, like, I am transmasc, and it's really ironic considering the VTuber model that I'm using. Like I mentioned on the Twitter notification post, this is the default one. Well, I think it's the only human default that they have that's free. And I didn't have my Vroid model imported to my phone, so it's all whatever at the moment. But, yeah. Because typically I'm in my cat maid outfit thing, but nah, I'm especially feminine today. It's a cute look, not gonna lie, but this is not my usual attire. Yeah. But, in my real life, I am taking testosterone injections because, it is just a part of the way I want to transition. And I do also plan on getting, a mastectomy, which is basically getting, what I like to call the titty be gone procedure. And under the state of California, where I live, let's see, at least under Medi-Cal, which is like the government level medical insurance that's provided, like for them, you have to be on testosterone for a minimum of 1 year before you can qualify for getting top surgery, either just in general from state law or for it to be covered by Medi-Cal. And honestly, it's a pretty sweet deal regardless. But let's say California did not give me those protections and trans rights specifically were, removed, then, I would not have access to my hormones. I would not have access to, other gender affirming surgeries. Oh, yes. Give me your recommendation. I just caught that comment. Yeah, I'm not going to pressure you to talk, but I thought you were going to give me a recommendation. Oh, I need to drink me some water. I have been talking. Wait. State requires a recommendation of stable health for surgery. Let's see, physical health or mental health? Because I used to help at GHC. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I know that for me, I previously used to see a therapist, which was very important. Definitely would recommend people try some form of counseling. Yeah, that's definitely a part of that 1 year requirement. So luckily, I managed to do a year of that already. I plan on going back to therapy, but that's like unrelated reasons. But yeah, I also been on testosterone for a year, and I think there's also the 1 year requirement for living as your desired gender for a year. And when I let's see, when I publicly came out to my dad's side of the family as trans, that was back in May of last year. So we've definitely hit the 1 year anniversary for that. Oh, free therapy sessions. Oh, ooh, damn. That's spicy. Let's see. Is it one of those online therapy services, or is it a specific sort of outreach program that's in local regions? Wait. Oh, okay. Let's see. Mm, let's see. My Twitter handle is the same as the username that I have on here. So you can go ahead and just DM me on Twitter about it, and then I can get right on back to you with that. Because honestly, it sounds pretty good. Man, damn, I was thirsty. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, I'm not sure who else is viewing at the moment, but regardless, we made some pretty good progress just topic-wise. I thought it'd take significantly longer. That was going to be like 3 hours, which, I wouldn't be mad necessarily if it was that long, but my phone battery does not have the most extended lifespan. But, it still has good battery life, don't get me wrong. It's just, it would not be smart to try having a stream run for 3 hours without having some form of charge along the way. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so basically, abortion access is fucked for people in a lot of states now, especially because there's this concept of state rights where conservatives are like, oh, why have big government? We live in these states. Why not give them more say over what should and should not be legal? And, there is some truth to that. And because there are some issues that are more prevalent in certain states than others. For example, California, we have a brass knuckle law thing where, like, you can't use certain gear that can be used similarly to brass knuckles. Like, you attach them to your, you ring them, you basically wear it as a ring, but it's meant to be used for acts of violence, whether it's defensive or offensive. So, there are gang issues that, we have gangs in California, just as every state does. But it was more of an issue, I'm assuming, further back when that law was implemented. So that would be an instance of that being a proper use of state rights. And having a brass knuckle law nationwide I feel like would be a really horrible idea, personally. But, these state rights people, they wanted to be where it's, have as little government involvement. We want mainly the state to have a say over what happens. And that basically further asserts my idea of how each state almost functions as its own country. We're just a bunch of countries acting as one. And considering how Texas has acted over the years, And especially right now, like, they really want to splinter off from, the broader country, which is sort of dumb because, oh, okay, I received your DM. Thank you so much. But, uh, my brain just, flipped a switch. Let's see. Yeah, because we are a union, hence United States of America. And, after we had our Civil War nonsense and just all that, we have, as all 50 states, made a shared agreement that how about none of us try to secede and we just get along together? We are one big family. Let's not start shit. And guess what Texas does and loves doing? They love starting shit. Like, okay, so we all like making fun of Florida because honestly, Florida, they're kind of whack in a funny way and a slightly concerning way. But no, Texas is like, it's the bastard child of the country, but everyone acts like, they wanted that state the whole time. It's just like, oh no, like, we love you. You were an accident, but like, we just, come bring it in. Let's have a hug. Let's have a group hug. It's like, no, yeah. Like, ugh. Yeah, federal government is very necessary for a whole lot of functionality. And for example, I like bringing up welfare because, it was very imperative for me growing up because my mom was broke as fuck. And because my parents divorced when I was 4, so single mom, disabled, can't really hold a job. It's kind of important for her to have some sort of government assistance. And, luckily California has, a relatively good head on its shoulders. It can be significantly better, but, it's better than a lot of other states, especially, seeing what the fuck happened today. Yeah, we're chugging along through everything. But yeah, welfare. Welfare is very much federally implemented, and on a federal level, that's where all the funding goes. Cali does what it can with its lack of funding from the feds. Yeah, like, we really do what we can. I mean, we still have issues with, we still have issues with, neglected roads. Like, they'll pay attention to the roads in the prettier sides of town, but otherwise there's still construction takes way too long to repair anything for any sort of public use. I forget what the proper term for it is, but essentially that sort of deal. Yeah, it's just, we could all be doing better. This country could do better, but the ones in power don't want to do better. Let's see, taxes from gas and stuff goes to social funding. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the taxes, they don't... I feel like every government, regardless of the country, has a similar issue, but I feel like taxes paid for aren't allocated properly. They are supposed, like you mentioned, they are supposed to be properly allocated, but in some way or another, some have a majority, or in some instances all the money is not used for that purpose. It's not sexy. It's not very up-sexy of the government. Ay. Yeah, and currently my fiance and I, we, the moment that the ruling happened, immediately he messaged me saying, we're kind of fucked right now. And, he's sort of thinking we might need to move to another country just because, it's genuinely a concern because, one, abortion is just generally necessary, and one of the Supreme Court justices wants to repeal gay marriage. That Supreme Court ruling, let's see, I forget what the specific name for it was, But it was the one that I talked about earlier, June 26th of, I think it was 2015. So I think it was 2015. So, yeah, one of them wants to overturn that. And it's kind of hard to get married to someone when you're kind of very obviously queer on both ends. It's like, because I already have my name and gender legally changed as of like what, 2 weeks ago. I got the paperwork in last week. I just haven't actually gotten it because I've been out of town, hanging out with my mans. Yeah, state selection is definitely very important right now. And ideally, I wouldn't want to move out of the country anytime super soon, just because it's expensive moving, especially to another country. And I'm thinking that in the event that we do leave the country, it would likely, like, in terms of moving, because of all this, it would be us needing to declare asylum. Because, like, it would have to get eerily close to, like, queer rights being stripped away, because I am not ready to get my ass handed to me. And, like, it doesn't help that you got people in positions of power that want to keep conversion therapy an option for minors, and you have Texas having a law where if a parent is observed to be providing transgender care to their children, they are obligated to be investigated by Child Protective Services for abusing their children. Do you know how dumb that sounds? It's just like, yes, you want to be boy instead of girl? Okay, well, we will let you dress how you want if you want to dress like a typical boy. We will change your name to whatever boy name you want if you want boy name. Like, that does not harm a child in the slightest. It's just, we're going back in time. Like, you want to make America great again? Well, it's just more like make America ancient again. Just, there was no need for us to go back in time with these laws. Like, unless there was actual proven evidence that these practices are harmful to people, just leave things be. Because, for example, gay marriage, there was literally nothing harmful to either person for them to be married together. Like, this is completely disregarding gay sex and whatnot. Like, forget that. Like, people are swingers, like, even straight people. Like, just whatever with that. But it's just, if it does not cause any physical, mental, emotional, or sexual harm to a person, literally leave them the fuck alone. That is the long and the short of it. And let's, returning back to abortions. Yes, you have the entire, it's two people, not just one person. This is disregarding any potential twins, triplets, blah, 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 because typically pregnancies come out with one child and, the person who's carrying said child. And, I generally tend to avoid using, referring to them solely as mothers, just because, for example, I am capable of having a child biologically, through carrying it. And I would prefer to not be referred to as the child's mother. I am the child's, parent. I am the father. Someone else may also be the father, or they could be the mother, depending on what kind of equipment their body has. But yeah, so anyways. Oh yeah, good luck stopping the goddamn child at that point. But yeah, it's just like I'm kind of dying inside just because, gotta love America. But, yeah, it's just, yes, anyway, yeah, abortion, yeah. So, yeah, there's that concept of it's, two people's, decision, not one, because, in an ideal world, yes, you would want to have the potential child to have a say, have an opinion on things, but you also got to look at it from another perspective. You know, now, like, this is just a very big, like, point blank view of things. It's either A, you have abortions be, accessible by law, and just have medical procedures that are as safe as a medical procedure can be. Because there's always going to be, health risks as a result. There could always be complications as a part of it, because there are surgical abortion procedures, as well as abortions that can be taken through pills, and even then, there can be complications with that. But, any sort of medical service can have complications. I had a surgery done when I was, 2 weeks old? Theoretically, I could have died from that, because there is no guarantee that someone will come out of a surgery without any issues. But, here I am, I'm alive, 100% okay from the procedure, it's fine. I wasn't, I was starving because, it's called oh my gosh, it's a, man, this is the one time I forget what it's called. I think it's pyloric stenosis. Yes, pyloric stenosis. So it's basically the top part of the stomach that opens when you swallow. It was swelled up, so I wasn't able to get much, milk in my system. So I was, I wasn't able to keep food down at all. And my mom is out here you kind of looking like a starving African child. And don't get me wrong, I am black, I am Mexican, so it makes sense. But because I got a hold of my medical papers, because I called up the children's hospital that I went to, and was like, hey, I got this procedure on this day, and I was born on this day, here's my information, I want to get the paperwork associated with this, with this entire hospital stay. And they gave it to me. And a part of the description was that, aside from me, just, having, I was a healthy baby in all areas considered, except for, my stomach, basically. I had to get a specific kind of x-ray thing done for it. I forget what it's even referred to, but, they knew something was wrong with me, whatever. But the description of how I physically appeared was that I had a distended stomach. And if you look at photos of the starving African children that they play during those, in the arms of an angel, on TV, you see that these kids, yes, they are starving, but they have huge ass bellies, because that's just the body trying to, it's just doing its thing, trying to maintain whatever it can in order to keep the child alive. So yeah, that was basically me. I looked like starving African child, and I lived from the procedure. And theoretically, one day, I am hopefully going to get top surgery, or the titty be gone procedure, and there is no surefire way that I won't get complications. There's no surefire way that I will not die. But there's a percentage rate of how successful things will be, a success rate for whether or not I will experience complications, and it's also up to each individual person's own health, what kind of allergies they have to certain medications. Just abortions are a risk just as, well, not just as much as every other surgery, other procedure, but all procedures have their risks. All medications have their risks. I take 3 mandatory medications, and 2 of them, if I stop taking them, just right here, right now, I just cold turkey it, I am at risk of basically getting seizures because of withdrawal symptoms, getting seizures, and one of them, I get really, lightheaded, really disoriented. I start dissociating a whole lot, because I had a bad habit of accidentally forgetting to take my pills for 48 hours at a time, so skipping 2 doses on accident, basically. And oh yeah, those withdrawals, it's what I imagine a hangover to be. I've never had a hangover, But like it's not a fun time. I am much better at remembering to take my meds now. If I do skip medications, like if let's say, oh, it's time for me to take it roughly, and then I fall asleep, and then I wake up the next morning, I'm able to figure out, oh, I missed my meds because I have those beginning withdrawal symptoms. But if I like catch it early enough and just take the meds, it's fine. It's not like I'm waiting until the end of that day, or else I have like a really bad headache. But it's just don't skip your meds. Don't cold turkey your meds because you're gonna fuck yourself over depending on what the medication is. And when I started one of my medications, it there's a risk of the person, whoever takes it, to develop a deadly skin rash. And let's see, it was I have two other family members that also took that medication before, and they did not develop the skin rash, luckily. But there's other side effects that can make a person decide or need to not take it anymore. So again, there's health risks associated with a whole lot of nonsense. Like even driving isn't guaranteed to protect you when you're driving, because, like, who knows? You might get a pop tire out of nowhere, and you, like, spin around on the road, and then you might fall off a motherfucking cliff and die. It happens, and you don't have 100% guarantee that you're gonna live from a car crash. And, like, I popped my tires a multitude of times. Like, I have had to pay for so many new tires because of me damaging them. But it's fine. It's fine. I haven't died. I haven't had any sort of injury from any sort of collisions. I got rear-ended once, but it was a tap compared to the car that was sandwiched behind me and the one that actually started the collision. They were okay too. It's just they're a brand new car. The front bumper, it was falling. Like, good thing their kid wasn't in the car that time. But it's like my general life motto: nothing in life is guaranteed.